Screen transcoding chip. What exactly is a screen transcoding chip? I believe that everyone in our industry has heard the saying that the screen with transcoding chip, or without transcoding chip, and most people think that the screen without transcoding chip is better. So, what exactly is the screen transcoding chip? What does it do? What is the advantage of the screen without transcoding chip? Chinotech, who has been deeply involved in the screen industry for many years, and has absolutely excellent technical expertise, will share with you the industry popularization of screen transcoding chip in easy-to-understand language. These two are screen without transcoding chip and screen with transcoding chip, ignoring the difference between screen IC and circuit layout. The obvious difference between these two is that the screen with transcoding chip must be accompanied by a screen transcoding chip. That is, there will be a IC on the screen. There are several types of IC on the screen. They are power supply IC, driver IC, storage IC, etc. The screens with transcoding chip. Essentially, this chip belongs to storage IC, which programs part of the scheme data of the screen into this chip, and then works in coordination with the driver IC to jointly drive the screen to realize the display touch function. For the screens without transcoding chip, the scheme data of the screen are all programmed in the driver IC, and only this driver IC can drive the screen to realize the display touch function. What's the advantage of the screen without transcoding chip? Let's take the original screen as an example. All original screens are without transcoding chip. The original screen was created from scratch, and after developing the solution data to adapt to this driver IC, all these scheme data are programmed into this driver IC to achieve the purpose of driving the screen function. In order to make the screen to work normally, it needs driver IC and the motherboard achieve a two-way communication. The driver IC controls the screen state by receiving instructions from the motherboard to realize the screen function. But this driver IC is essentially just a piece of hardware. It needs the driver of the scheme data to realize truly communicate. This is similar to a computer installed a sound card without installing sound card driver. So the computer still has no sound. And the driver IC is the same. Only with the scheme data adapted to this driver IC can realize the communication between the screen and the motherboard. Moreover, the scheme data of the original screen is for this driver IC, which is specially developed from scratch. This scheme data has the best adaptability for the hardware of the driver IC. What about the screen with transcoding chip? If a third party wants to make a screen suitable for a certain model, then these materials for making the screen, including glass, IC and other hardware, are easy to buy. But what about the scheme data? First of all, such as Apple, Huawei, Oppo, and Vivo, it is impossible for the original factory to publish their software data codes. Then, the third party need to find a scheme company to develop software scheme data adapted to a certain model. A scheme company. It received order from Company A. Company A wanted to make a iPhone 13 OLED screen. It found Innolux to develop a glass, customized a driver IC, and then found the scheme company to customize the IC that adapt to the scheme data of this driver IC. After receiving the order, scheme company reversed the properties of the iPhone 13 motherboard and developed a set of scheme data that suits this driver IC from the scratch to realize the operation of the screen function. This screen from Company A, just like the original screen, is a screen without transcoding chip. After a while, the scheme company received an order from Company B. Company B also wanted to make a iPhone 13 screen. It first found Truly Opto to develop a glass, then customized a driver IC, and then found the scheme company wanted to develop a model that fits the scheme data of this screen. Since the scheme company has already developed a scheme material for Company A that's suitable for the iPhone 13, at this time, it will ask Company B, do you want the screen with transcoding chip or without transcoding chip? The scheme with transcoding chip is $29,000. Without transcoding chip is $290,000. At this time, Company B chose the scheme with transcoding chip. So scheme company wrote a transcoding interface for the driver IC adapted to the glass of Company B on the basis of Company A's scheme, and then programmed the interface data into the chip so as to realize the functional operation of the screen. In this way, it does not violate the contract between the scheme company and Company A, and also completes the contract task with Company B in a price-performance way. Then this screen of Company B is a screen with transcoding chip. In terms of product cost, the screen with transcoding chip uses one more IC, so its material cost will be higher. But the screen without transcoding chip, the cost of developing scheme data, is much higher than the screen with transcoding chip, because the scheme without transcoding chip is based on the specific glass characteristics, and the driver IC that's suitable for the glass characteristics. It is rewritten from the scratch development, which is a huge work. So the cost is more expensive. Therefore, the screen without transcoding chip will be more expensive. After all, developing the schemes costs a lot. So is there a difference in quality between the two? In terms of quality, the quality of screens without transcoding chip will be more stable, because the screen without transcoding chip is written by the factory from zero to complete, and adapts to its own glass and IC scheme, while the screen with transcoding chip borrows the mature scheme of other companies, and then adds a transcoding interface, which is this chip, used to realize driven. And if there is another step added in the process, it will increase the error probability of running, and then increase the instability of the screen with transcoding chip. However, the occurrence of the screen with transcoding chip comes from the natural operation law of the market, which has a certain reason to be occurred. If you consider the quality, Chino recommends the screen without transcoding chip. If you consider the price performance, the screen with transcoding chip is also an option. Follow Chino. Take you to know the first-hand screen market information.